maybe we should talk to the puppet master. What is he doing? The puppet master. You know, the guy on the other end of Barack's BlackBerry, I'm sure. What is he doing? Why would he do this? Well, first, let's see what he is doing in his own words.
So an orderly decline of the dollar is actually desirable.
It is an orderly decline of the dollar is desirable. Oh, a managed decline of the dollar. Remember, you have $200,000 in the bank. You've just lost $40,000. That is a decline in the dollar. That's weird, because what he just said is almost exactly what the Fed is doing here. Anywho, do you remember when everyone was freaked out about the Amero? I mean, the kooks were like, the Amero's coming. They're gonna take and make a North American Union, and they're gonna have the Amero. Really? Really? Oh, I remember when I was a small thinker too. I gotta do the Amero. George Soros says, we're looking at the new global order, a new world order. You've got Russia, you've got China, you've got people all over the world saying, one new global currency. Well, how do you get there? Same thing with the Amero. How would you do that? You can't all of a sudden give Mexico the dollar. Their peso is, please, really. I mean, it would cost you more to use it as wallpaper. What are you talking about? The glue would be more expensive. You couldn't do that. It wouldn't be fair to us. Same thing happened in Europe. What they had to do when they had the euro is they had to equate all of the currencies. It wasn't fair to have the lira be worthless and then have Germany with this big booming economy come in, because Germany would have been carrying Italy. They had to bring Italy up to be able to turn them all into one. That way, the country with the highest valued currency wouldn't get the shaft and take a massive hit in value. So you have to level the playing field. Well, progressives have been trying to lift the rest of the world out of poverty themselves. That's why we're sending foreign aid and everything. Help them. That policy has failed miserably time and time again. Well, you could keep trying that, or you could do that and have a managed decline of the dollar. We could shift our wealth overseas, like in a global cap and trade or anything like that. Shift the wealth overseas, or we could just buy all of their stuff so the dollars don't stay here. Bring it over there. And then we could manage the decline of the value of the dollar. I'll show you how this story ends in a minute. Little pig, let me in. Not by the hair of your chinny chin chin. As we are watching the little puppet show, as we are talking about things that really do have importance, what happened yesterday in the election was huge. But what is happening today with the Fed will change everything. We are living in a dangerous time, and you have to know, do we watch the show or do we look for the puppet master? The window of opportunity is closing. The chance of creating a utopian new world order. Let me say it like a new world order. Spooky. Andy Stern has articulated the goal himself. They all have. Here's Andy Stern.
As opposed to the past when unions were formed, Workers of the World Unite was kind of an ideological consideration. It's now very practical.
Oh, communism is now practical. Workers of the World Unite. How do you do this? Oh, watch the show on Friday and DVR Friday and all of next week. The way they will achieve this is by dragging America down. We are the richest country on the globe. We know how the progressives of the world view the top 1%. Well, we're the ones that are we're the oppressors. They need to take it. Your money, the money in your bank account, is intentionally being destroyed. It is being devalued, and the rich are getting richer. This is the biggest heist in human history, and it is happening while we're at the theater. They are taking your money. It may as well be a 20% tax hike. So, who's getting the money? Where's it going? Ask the puppet master. We don't understand it because Your friends, you tell your friends that this is going on, and most people will say, oh, what difference does it make? Because they've never had anything but the dollar, and the dollar has always been the gold standard for as long as any of us can remember. We're the standard bearer. But let me take you to Iceland, a story that happened a couple of years ago. And when this happened, I couldn't relate to this, but we have to understand this kind of situation can come our way. Here's McDonald's in Iceland. Well, they couldn't keep their doors open in Iceland. Why? They couldn't afford to buy the meat on that burger or the fish. They couldn't do it. Well, it's because they had a collapse of their monetary system, their dollar. You're going to be able to relate to this real soon. What happened was the krona, their dollar, collapsed. Their currency collapsed. They could no longer afford to import the meat and cheese and everything else because they don't make the meat and cheese over there. They had to buy it from another country. Well, if their dollar isn't worth anything, their krona isn't worth anything, well, what do they buy it with? Well, that's what they had to figure out. They had to close the doors because they couldn't afford to buy the meat someplace else. If they wanted to keep the doors open, well, then Iceland needed to come up with something of value that Iceland could sell in exchange for euros or dollars or anything else, because the rest of the world looked and said, yeah, I got plenty of meat, but that's not worth anything, so we don't want it. Well, okay, want some ice? They had to come up with something. That was not an orderly decline of their currency. But what we have is an orderly decline, and when the dollar is finished, it will be as valuable as who knows what. Maybe the peso? I don't know. I don't know. It'll all be fine, though, because the puppet masters have it all worked out. Bernanke, this has never been done before in history, but they'll get it right this time. When the dollar starts to decline, what is it that the world wants to trade with America? Well, do we make solar panels? No, that's China. They in India can make them cheaper. Cars? No, don't really do that anymore. There is only one thing that America manufactures today. Can you name it? The only thing that America manufactures that the world must have. The dollar. The dollar. They all want the dollar. It is the reason we have the wealth we do today. Once we devalue this, nothing is left. It is the final bubble. I am begging you. Next year, I feel like Barack Obama. The seas will recede and the skies will open up. Next year, we are going to empower you to not live, because this system is coming down. It is. I mean, CNN didn't see it. Look how they got their butts handed to them last night. Everything's changing. I am begging you to educate yourself. I'm begging you, take the 40-day and 40-night challenge. Please, prepare for the worst and hope for the best. Do you remember this chart I showed you yesterday? This chart. This is what's coming, gang. Whether you like it or not. This red line is the price of the raw materials, the commodities. This is the price of the groceries in the store. Do you see what's happened here? This price has gone way up, and this isn't even counting what they did today. Way up. This blue line, the price of your groceries, is going up. Please, prepare for a rainy day. You are going to lead the way out. Senator Gregg said today these words.
This nation is on a course where if we don't do something about the federal situation, fiscal policy, I mean, we're Greece, you know. We're a banana republic. I mean, our status as a nation is threatened by what we've got coming at us in the area of deficit and debt. And it's only a few more years at the most that we have to work with here before the markets say, I'm sorry, your currency is not something we can continue to defend.
And you are Iceland. Don't miss Friday's show. He made that statement on the same day the Fed announced that we are monetizing $600 billion more of our debt. Let's just leave you here with a moment of what it must be like to be Greece today.